there might be a difference in like how we colloquially think of a serial killer, like a Jeff Dahmer, Ted Bundy, etc., etc. And like for example, King Von is labeled as a serial killer, and that motherfucker was just a gang member who liked to kill a lot of people. That was it. That was it for the most part. So I'm saying like if it's just based off like the amount of people killed over a certain period of time, then sure, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if that was the fact. But if we're trying to define it in like the quote unquote traditional serial killer sense, like the Jeff Dahmers, Ted Bundys, et cetera, Zodiac killers, and all that type of shit, then if that was the case, then I'd want to see specifically who the other 50% were, because I'm just not familiar.
Well, actually, I thought that was a very polarized statement. I haven't heard that before about serial killers being black, that high percent. So I did a quick Google search. It says 15% were black since 1985. Now maybe Mojo has a different link I take a look at?
No, that's what I'm finding too, JB. I put in the chat, 82% were white is what I'm finding.
Yeah, hold on. I am going to not only bring a receipt, I'm going to lead the discussion of why you guys don't know how to use Google prompts. But I'll go ahead and get this post for you.
And Mojo's right. From 2004 up to now, from blacks is 2000s is 54%, 2010s is 55%, 2020s is 57%, whites is 36%, in 2010s is 32% white, and 2020 is 33% white.
And since apparently some people don't know the definition of a serial killer, this is from Google, quote, a person who commits a series of murders, often with no apparent motive, and typically following a characteristic with predictable behavior pattern. No, it's not that we don't know what the word serial killer means. It's that we need to know how it's being used in this context for Canada. I didn't say that.
Guys,
how many dead?
Hold on. I have brought the receipt. It's pinned up above, and what you can see is that from 2000 and beyond, more than 50% of the serial killers in the United States are black. Now, you do with that whatever you wish. I don't even know how to process that. I'm just saying that there used to be a stereotype that it was predominantly white people. And I just want people to go and look at that statistic, and then we can...
And very quickly, I didn't say, sir, that you didn't know the definition. I'm sure you knew it all along. But there was a comment about 90 seconds ago that essentially said, I'll paraphrase, maybe we need to agree on the definition, which is why I took 60 seconds of my valuable time to look it up.
And what's interesting, it's not just serial killers. You will find that disproportional weighting among black people in a variety of crimes, some of which are listed in my PTR picture, and I will put the link to those statistics in the chat as well.
Oh, I guarantee.
They can do whatever they want with it. They're happy. I don't know what we're going to make of it, but those stats will be in the chat.
Alan, I guarantee you're going to take that link above and you're going to use that in further arguments that you have. But I just think it's interesting.
Well, I understand, Roger. You know, a few weeks back when you took objection to the stats I posted, you had a black woman that you were trying to fuck, so you wanted to impress her. But it's funny the way your double standard works.
Well, hold on, Alan. Hey, you made these... hold on, what?
Alan putting out Mojo's business.
Wow, where'd he go? Did he like crash out and fucking had to leave?
He dropped, that was a mic drop.
Hey, so I just looked up.
I don't think he's wrong.
So I just looked up what they mean by serial killer, and it's what they ended doing said was 2 more victims as separate victims, separate events at different times. That's how they're using it. They're not using this in a traditional way like a Charles Manson and different things like that, or the person's going out killing like 50 to 20 to 50 people at once. They're basically going on based off the people that be going killing people for just in whatever terms, and it's more than one or more than two people.
Tony, listen, I'm at it. Hold on, man. You can talk all night 'cause I'm leaving soon. But I want to get back to Ryder trying to fuck this chick.
Yeah, I knew something about this that was off. Thank you, Tony, for adding.
No problem.
So are we gonna hear about how he fucked that chick, or what?
What's the plan, Mojo?
No, I'm a gentleman. I don't kiss and tell.
What can you tell us, JB?
I wasn't there. I didn't know what the fuck Alan was talking about. But Alan leaves a reservation every once in a while. He likes to gaslight shit and dip. And I'm assuming that's what he was doing now. But hey, Mojo owns it. If he tried, I hope he was successful. See, if you fuck a chick off Clubhouse, you have mental illness. Sorry.
Which is more powerful weapon?
I've had people slide into my DMs off this app, and honestly, there was one I almost fucked, but then I was like,
Sorry, which is the more powerful weapon in the world?
I have no idea what you just fucking said.
1 minute they're sliding in your DMs, the next minute they're sliding in.
No, I'm sliding in them.
Do you want to try that again? Can you try a little English? V?
Which is the more powerful country in the world?
What's the most powerful country in the world? Is that your question? In my opinion, the most powerful country in the world is Zimbabwe, but I could be wrong.
I have the answer. It's the Dominican.
The greatest nation is a donation.
No, but we are the kings of the Caribbean. Like America,
Listen, let me tell you
the
something.
rest of the planet.
DR, hold on, man. DR has the best food in the world. I will never dispute.
We have claim dominance over the Caribbean islands, so you guys can have the rest of the.
That's fucking right. But respectfully, their women are like the most like unattractive in the
What the
Latino.
fuck are you talking about? Dominican women are beautiful. I don't know where you went, but maybe you went to Cuba on accident. But no, we got it fine over here.
Nah, Venezuelan bitches, man.
Oh, you like white women?
Yeah,
there you go.
I tell you the
All the
Hold on, B. The English room is in an hour. The hottest Latinas, and I know you guys aren't going to agree with this, but it's the truth. It's definitely chicks from Ecuador.
No, you're lying.
Yeah,
It's Colombia. Colombia wins. I will say this. The Argentinian women, they might be the smartest, but they're definitely not the most. Those are just Europeans in disguise.
They're
Venezuelans.
Spanish. They're white.
Venezuelans though.
I had a Venezuelan clean my house a couple of weeks ago, and she had an ankle bracelet on.
What do you guys know about El Salvadorian chicks?
They're short.
Serving up that papusa.
I know any Argentinian chick I have ever met, bro, always has that thin mustache.
So do Italian women.
So I do have to
100%.
say as much. I feel like the most wife material type of woman though is the Mexican woman. She's traditional. She's religious. She's a Catholic woman. She knows how to cook. Like you gotta for wife material purposes, a Mexican woman is.
Yeah, no argument there. Especially if she grew up in Mexico City and watched Lucha Libre. No, it's not that. It's if she grew up at home with both parents in a decently toxic relationship. Oh, she's fucked if she gets in one with you.
Well, she'll be submissive as fuck.
You try you sit down without a plate and she's not making you one. She's getting like her ass beat by everybody.
Well, I changed the title to the room. Whose country has the hottest women? Definitely not America.
Well, listen. Of course you say that. You're in New York. If you lived in LA, you'd think differently. Like LA, is over-indexed with hot women. I
mean, but LA and Miami, LA and Miami are the land of fakeness. Like half that shit is bought. It's not like
So-
women are naturally attractive.
the question I have for you, Mojo, respectfully, if there's so many hot women in LA, how is Dr. Jordan still a virgin? Just
Well, I can vouch for Dr. Jordan here. He took me to a young, hip spot in LA, and the women were half our age, and they were all dick riding. Like, Dr. Jordan,
So look,
didn't it feel like the music stopped when we walked in?
Yeah, but no. Well, I don't know, but
Yeah, because all the girls there thought their parents just walked in.
for you, not for me. But what I wanted to say is that if you guys go to my Instagram, it's a sampling of just some of the women, some of the people that I've had on my podcast, which include women. And it's a good example of just...
Yo, Jordan, by the way, you have some hot chicks on your podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you'll be like... And so it's not by accident that I live in LA. But what I realized is that it's a numbers game, right? It's like, there's only... If I'm in Cleveland, the hottest woman is not going to go out with me. If I'm in LA, though, the numbers play in my favor. It's hard not to find gorgeous women in LA.
He's not lying with that. I'll tell you, baby, all the time.
LA women are attractive, but a 10 in LA is like a 3 in Spain.
No. Listen. Listen. An Applebee's waitress in LA is better than anyone in.
Deadass. So honestly, I think the Europeans are highly overrated. Like they get hyped up so much in the U.S. and they're really not that good looking.
They only get hyped up because they get the bonus edition of their accents being taken into account.
Because I'm gonna tell you,
That's about it.
I'm gonna tell you this: the average girl in LA, body's usually on point. She has money. She might be a little slow because in LA the girls are kind of slow a little bit. But they're hot.
But can we agree, at least we're all men and we're talking about good-looking women. There's some cultures, there's this one particular, they call themselves a religion, but they're nothing but a pedophile death cult. They don't like women at all. They like little girls. Shout out to Islam. You mean that group?
I do think Islam.
I mean, now they do fit in that category now.
The Prophet Muhammad fucked a 9-year-old girl, and we should never stop talking.
Tony, how do I get one of those outfits that you're wearing? What did you buy?
It was actually AI on my Facebook, and it said, "Do you like this picture?" And I was like, "I actually do." And everyone thinks I'm Ethiopian or some type of Arabic person. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm about to switch over."
Harry brought up a good question. What about Hooters waitresses? It depends on what Hooters you go to. If you go to a Hooters in SoCal or Twin Peaks even, there's a great Twin Peaks near my house here in the Pacific Northwest. But there are some Hooters restaurants. The one in Dublin, California, for instance, that's in Northern California, not quite the same quality. Not quite the same quality. I would say a Tuesday afternoon lunch shift Hooters waitress from LA is like a Friday night primetime waitress in Northern California. There's levels to this shit.
It's different levels to the shit. Yeah. In LA, your average little salad bar is looks better than your Kansas City Hooters girl.
Dude, in LA, you can go to the swap meet and the chick that doesn't speak a lick of English that's selling fucking socks is hotter than most women, period. At the fucking swap meet. At the slushing swap meet. Harry, where's here? Where are you talking about? Oh yeah. You ever go to Full Sail University, Harry?
Yeah, the chicks at Full Sail are pretty hot. Anyways, I'm gonna jam. I got things I gotta do. I'm sure you guys will behave yourselves, but somebody said Brazil. Do you guys know that Brazil had 10 times the amount of slaves that the United States had? You guys don't want to talk about that. You're not ready for that conversation.
Latvia has a good number of aesthetically attractive.
Yeah, this guy left. I was gonna ask him if anybody watched Roots when they were in history class back in high school or middle school. Anyways. Yeah. I've always wondered why you always have like the It's interesting that Roger would put up serial killers by race. Because I mean, I only hear that shit from like Holland Dean or Beaver. So. Anyways, Doug, Jordan, it's been a while since we've talked.
Hey, Jordan, when you leave, shut it down, please. Unless Rolo wants to come up and run the room. I mean, it's probably like 8 o'clock in the morning there, so he's wide awake.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just finishing up a project.
Necro, I gotta go because I'm at a grocery store, but I'll try and come back.
Yeah, I think you should just close it down because the room's pretty much okay. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna close the room. So.
Oh, it already said that they're going to be using sports to test those things you're talking about. They're going to be using athletes to test whatever they're going to be doing for war and shit like that for them soldiers. It's coming, Eugene. They already doing it. Neuralink, Synchrone, and they were saying Black Rock Neuro. Yep, all those companies is already working on.
My phone literally just crashed. This shit's not doing very good. Chicago cheeseburger.
But the fact that my profits are up tells you that Rico's profits are down.
That's fine.
You shouldn't ask me these silly questions, though, especially when you know that I don't lose.
Well, I mean, when you say nothing is up, yeah, I assume you mean nothing.
No, I said that we started from the bottom and now we're here. And there's nothing above us except for God Almighty. That's
Well,
it.
if we started from the bottom, then there was things above us, actually.
There was. Exactly. But I'm not saying we wasn't. He is. Now, the Blue yesterday, 2 days ago, said we started from the bottom, now we're here. I told them, thinking you're still at the bottom. We started from the bottom, we're still exactly where we are together. Shit.
Spoken like a true ghetto rat. From Amman, Jordan, Shawarma making, go drinking,
Now, Cheeseburger, let me ask you
day
this.
trading, CFA studying.
Nigga, what happened to your real estate situation there with the court?
Oh, nothing to update.
Well, I would suggest you learn Many Man. You know the song Many Man?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that song is very popular in prison, nigga, and it will get you a lot of trouble. So I would suggest you start with Many Men.
I would suggest you open up a shawarma shack as good as Arim Shawarma, and you can retire in 5 years. You're gonna waste all your time with the shekel trading when you could just be selling delicious, sweet shawarma.
Nigga, there's no way to say it.
Oh,
The Jews is not gonna send you the
juicy, mouth-watering shawarma. Delicious shawarma.
Because you need to start thinking up and networking with some Italian mafia motherfuckers, nigga. Because when it goes down to prison, I'm telling you, Compton doesn't look as nice as Chicago. Let me tell you that, nigga.
Wow, you say the N-word almost like you have Tourette's, like T-Robs. I didn't know you were such a sufferer.
Well, I did learn a lot of things.
It's either one or the other.
Yeah,
it's not one, then it's the other.
So sometimes both the one and the other.
No, I was gonna say, because you asked the other night, so this is kind of wild if true. I mean, the benchmarks, we'll know in the next few days, but as far as I know, it's a brand new AI lab or company. So I've never heard of that before, and this is their first time. But they put out a fully open, the weights and everything, model that is, apparently it's on par with 03. We're pretty close to 03. It beats 4.0, it's tied with Grok, and it's completely open source.
I'm asking you.
It's also probably pretty low. And the people that go and decide to carry are people that are more responsible, they tend to train more. And so they're going to be much more efficient with their firearm if they have that time when they're chosen and they have to defend themselves and their family.
No, I mean, you cannot, he's consistent, he's reliable. Rain, wind, or shine, Amir is out there. Sets up his boat, drops the fishing line.
We're talking about saving lives part. If you were like here in Arizona, if I was an armed robber, I'd have to have a very commanding show of force in order to not get shot by somebody, and I would have to look at everybody as a potential threat because I don't know who's carrying.
Wasn't there something recently also, similar story in a church, that they stopped someone from shooting up the church?
Oh, there's so many stories.
Just like recently in the last month. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the details, but a lot
someone
of people
came
don't
in to
realize
shoot up a church.
Many churches, temples, synagogues in this country have security people.
We are all.
And they have people that are trained. Yeah, they're trained.
Well, we have
and they're
metal detectors. I mean, you can't walk into temple. We have metal detectors, but we have armed guards always. And people, I don't want to say whether they carry or they don't, but they.
But Abby, I've heard that which I think is a good thing.
I think that was the last one that was big in public. The transsexual went to church.
Oh, the mega church. The mega church.
Where was it?
She walked in with her 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, where was that? What city?
Osteen's church in Texas. Osteen's church.
But I would say even with this shooting in New York City, if you see people that are in uniform, you're going to target them first. The most frustrating thing would be is that who's armed, who isn't. I don't know who's who. But let's just say I went to a church, a synagogue, or whatever, and then I go in there. Let's just say I was able to take out the guards. Now, let's just say there happens to be 30, 40 people in the place. I'm not humanly capable of keeping my eyes on all of their hands and whatever. But let's just say out of that 30 or 40, there's 10 people that are packing. I'm not dodging all of their bullets. That's just not. It's not a possibility.
We've also we've trained our congregants. We've trained our staff what to do with active shooting. I mean, sadly, you really don't go to, at least with Temple, you don't go anymore without knowing this and having a game plan, knowing where the exits. I mean, so the people in there know, but there will be people that will be armed for sure.
But that's the thing, though, is if I'm the armed guy, what I have to worry about is I don't care as the person who wants to come and shoot at everybody. I don't care where you guys exit. I'll just shoot you guys as you're exiting. If I was that type of person. Now, what I would be worried about is who's packing, because I don't know which direction. How can I even control for that? I mean, I could give extremely strong orders and say, every one of you motherfuckers, keep your hands up. If you don't, I'm gonna shoot you in the fucking head. Something like that.
I found the per 100,000 rates in
Can I
United States. Oh, I'm sorry.
Who was that?
Please wait, Adam. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I thought he was done.
So I could try to give these kinds of verbal commands, which the police do, for example. They just don't let. They give you the commands. They don't want you to reach in your waistband where you might have a weapon. But at the end of the day, if I was a lone gunman, I'm not able to keep track of everybody. I will undoubtedly be killed. And how do you escape? If once one person opens fire, then you have 10 people shooting at you. what do you do then? Like nothing. You're just gonna die. That sucks for you, but that's what you get for being a terrorist. And so, I do think like the concealed carry stuff is actually like super effective. But do you think that's wrong, Adam?
Well, I you're extrapolating out to race, right? So if we look at
no
per 100,000 in
no, I'm talking about like shooting at a church or a synagogue. At least at this point.
Yeah, we
I
look at rates of.
Well, yeah, except that. Okay, I needed to look at the data because Pepe made a few points there, and he was trying to delineate between races, which I think is fair. So if you look, but if we don't want to talk about that, then I'll just go to a macro thing, which I can back up with the data here again. But that conceal and carry it can be effective because you don't. The threat isn't imminent or known to the person who's seeking to do harm in a public place like a church or a school or anywhere else. And so if someone's concealing, they can take care of that individual before they can do too much harm. I get the logic behind that, and that conceal actually amplifies that that ability to address someone who's looking to do something murderous. But I think that it also reinforces the unique quality in the United States of having being a stronger violence culture.
I disagree.
Western
Well, I disagree. So, like, in order to have gun rights in the United States, the only reason, like, for example, Jews in a synagogue, because I'm willing to bet that, I'm sure there's some synagogues in New York where people, they have a lot of connections and they can get their concealed carry permits, which were nearly impossible to get in New York. But for the average, let's just say Jew or Christian, let's just say black Christian that might get shot up by a white supremacist even. It's at the end of the day, if you don't have these gun rights, these parishioners are not going to be able to defend themselves.
But Pepe, let me just, I'm not to get into a lot of it, but part of what we do is we securitize every temple. Every single one in the entire country has gone through this system and has had some kind of facility assessment. And a lot of these properties were built before security was an issue. So they weren't built with security in mind, and they have to be retrofitted. And it's expensive. However, the federal government, if you know about the federal grant system for faith-based at-risk facilities, it was at $300 million. It went up to, I think it's more than double. So it might be like it's $700 or $800 million that's allocated around the country for churches, synagogues, faith properties, and buildings that are at risk. So their money was allocated, I think about $150,000 when you apply for the grant, and it pays for camera systems. It also pays for like the plating of the glass, like the film that and I'm not great with all the specifics on what you do with to deter shooting, but they literally fit out these properties so that before the shooter even gets into where the people are, there's deterrence other than just the guards standing out there. And the one in Texas, do you remember the shooter that came into Colleyville, Texas?
Is he the one who had he shot up his ex-wife and?
No, this is this Arab dude that flew into the U.S. And flew into the Dallas-Fort Worth airport and drove over to Colleyville, Texas to a temple and went in to shoot it up. And he came in there and they actually fed him tea, like they didn't know, and then he pulled out the gun and he held them there. But they were all trained. They knew exactly what to do. They knew.
I remember. He's the guy who got shot by the FBI.
He ultimately got taken out, yes. But the people escaped. It took like 11 hours of being held in there, and they escaped. They knew exactly. Ultimately, they used a chair and threw a chair at him when he went to take a drink of water, and he put his gun down. Like, they knew what to look for, what signs, and they all got out alive. And then he was taken out. But the reason I bring that one up is because they had on the windows there plating of the glass. So that happened during COVID, and the security guards weren't outside the building like they usually are, because there were very few people inside praying. Most people were Zooming in back then. I mean, normally there's guards outside that are definite deterrents, but that property had gone through a facilities retrofit and had plating. So you can see, I might have a picture of this, I could PTR. You could see where the glass was penetrated by, they were trying to get through, law enforcement was trying to get through to shoot this guy. And it was a deterrent, unfortunately, for law enforcement at one point because of the glass plating. It's a long way to explain to you that it's more than just parishioners having guns.
There's a ballistic film. There's a ballistic film
that's
that
what
you
it
can apply
is.
to that.
Ballistic film, yes.
Yeah, they don't have to replace the window. They just put this film on.
Yes. I mean,
But I think that's a good thing. It's like, at the end of the day, like, if you're a psychopath that wants to go into a synagogue or a church and kill whoever's in there, it's a lot harder. Like, I think it's amazing.
It's expensive, but the feds have paid for a lot of it for churches and stuff.
1.7, the white, non-Hispanic white homicide rate in the United States is 1.7 per 100,000. Canada, non-Indigenous, so this is all groups including whites, everyone except non-Indigenous people, except Indigenous people, it's 0.98. And countrywide in Switzerland it's 0.5, in Norway it's 0.5, in a lot of Western Europe it ranges the entire population from 0.7 to 1. So even when you just go with white non-Hispanics, you still have a significant elevated homicide rate.
Sure, but that's actually not significant. But I mean, if we're to even look at Eastern Europe's homicide rates, which I know is not very fair, but what are their homicide rates compared to that of us in the United States, and also that of Western Europeans?
It's higher. I don't.
Much higher.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if they extrapolate for racial categories there, but it would be.
They're white, homogenous countries. They don't have to.
So we're saying, like, what, Romania? Maybe.
Not Romania. Ukraine and Russia have always had higher rates of overall homicide than the United States, despite being nearly all white demographic. Well, Ukraine. I won't say the same for Russia. I do think that there's like a lot of factors that come into play there, and so.
But I think okay, I just think that I think that Western Europe is or Canada is a closer metric to the United States, and I just like you don't have people that are armed. You have
but you also don't have the same demographics
and violent rates.
But you also don't have the same demographics.
No, but accounting for demographics, you find that there's a lower rate, including all demographics save Indigenous people in Canada, than there is amongst white non-Hispanics in the United States. Substantially lower.
Wait, hold on a second. Are you going to tell me that the First Nations people in Canada commit less homicide on average than white?
They commit more. So non-Indigenous homicide rates in Canada, so everyone except Indigenous people, is 0.98 per 100,000, and the white non-Hispanic homicide rate in the United States is 1.7.
You're talking aggregate now. We're not talking about firearm deaths per se. We're talking about all homicide rates here.
Yeah, but but there's lower violent crime rates, lower homicide rates, fewer gun-related homicides, the whole spectrum, and people are not armed in Canada or in these other Western countries.
Are gun-related homicides worse than other homicides?
I don't think so, but I was using all homicides.
No, I know. I know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think a homicide's a homicide. Is a homicide.
So when we break down, and I'm kind of using numbers from 23 or 4 now, just committed to memory. In the United States, firearm-related deaths every year are in the 40,000 range. 66% of those are self-deletions. And when you start breaking it down, there's 1,100 negligent discharges every year. That's somebody that's messing around with the gun or doesn't understand what's going on with the gun, and it goes off and it kills somebody.
We have
which is 100% preventable, but that's because we don't do education for our children in the school, so they would understand it. If they see a gun, they don't touch it, and they get an adult. We could do that. We could drop that number quite a bit. When you really start drilling down into the numbers, we're talking somewhere in the rate of like 12,000 flat out firearm homicides a year. The majority of those are in 12 counties in the United States, and they're the high population, big cities with a large socioeconomic disparity, and that is probably one of the leading drivers because most of those people are involved in gang-related activity, drug activity. So when we start thinking about 335 million Americans, and even if you took the whole number of 40,000, that is a very, very small percentage of the population that dies by fire.
It's 5.6 per 100,000. In 2023.
But why is it that Northern Europe, especially Northeastern Europe, they have suicide rates that dwarf ours despite their strict gun laws?
It probably depends by state, because you go out to the Midwest, the Dakotas, even out into Montana, like the suicide rate, and it's predominantly males, like over the age of 50. It's pretty high. I'll check this.
That's the case in every country.
Yeah, but I would say that there are certain states where the suicide rate is highest, where it is. I'll check, but I would suspect it's close to what you see in Nordic countries. I mean, they don't get a lot of sun. Like even their accent, like the Swedish accent. I mean, they're really trying to be happy, but you can tell they're sad. The point is though this argument about deterrence, right? Or like, that if the people are armed, then there's less violent crime. And I don't disagree with that logic, because I guess you can shoot a person dead and then they stop doing the violent crime. But I don't think it's an issue of guns, and I think that's also missed. Because I think a lot of the gun advocates are right that it's the person pulling the trigger, not the gun itself, that's the issue. But there is clearly there is a culture of violence in the United States. That's the issue, is the culture, not the guns.
Of that 1.65 million estimated defensive uses of firearms in the United States stopping a crime, the vast majority of those were just the person declaring that they had a firearm that stopped the bad activity from happening, and a much smaller percentage of that, it was the people actually what we call brandishing, producing the firearm and showing it, and a very, very small percentage of those cases did somebody actually have to discharge their firearm in defense of themselves or their family. So a lot of the times, just the fact that somebody says, hey, stop that, I've got a gun, will make the person that's doing the ill stuff, the bad stuff, just move off.
Right, but again, in other Western countries, the people don't have guns to declare that they have a gun.
Yeah,
no one does, and yet we still have lower violent crime of all sorts.
Yeah, and we're the only country that has a Second Amendment, and we were born out of a revolution where the British headed off into the countryside when Paul Revere made his famous ride because they were told to go and take the guns away from the colonists. And it's never going to be a situation where somebody takes the Second Amendment and strips our right to have guns. It just won't happen. There's 400 million guns in the United States. There's only 335 million people.
I get
and it's a non-starter. So we have what we have to deal with.
But do you think psychotic people should have guns, Josh?
Obviously not, but then we have to figure out ways, and I guess President Trump just today said he's going to reopen mental facilities, so maybe we can get some of these people. So many of these stories when I dig into these mass shootings in particular, everybody goes, yeah, that guy was crazy, we knew it. He called the cops a million times. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooter in Florida, he had been reported to the local police, he'd been reported to the FBI. He pulled a gun on the family that took him in after both of his parents died, pulled a gun and put it to the head of one of his siblings of that household. I mean, there were telltale signs for a lot of these people, but there just is no ability for us to go ahead and get them help and maybe separate them from the populace if they need to be.